Good morning, guys. Well, again, we're here in Ambleside in the Lake District in England, and this morning, today is actually Monday. Today is our final day. I think it's the 26th or the 27th. Today is our final day of shooting in the Lake District. So we want to make the best of it. We want to do the best we can. And today we're doing a hike up into the mountains again, and we're going to land Wandsfell Pike. So this is supposed to be quite high. It's at least a couple of thousand feet. I'm not sure. So that's what we're doing. I've no idea what we're actually going to see. Obviously, we're going to see some vistas. Looking down here, you can see the town, or part of the town of Ambleside, the little village. And then down here is a rapids river. Very, very picturesque. I'm just leaving town. This is kind of the hill that we're climbing up, a little town road leaving the town of Ambleside. So yeah, so that's what we're doing this morning, and we're going to talk to you in a bit. Okay, so we've arrived not too far out of town, actually. I bet only about a half a mile out of town, but we've arrived at a small waterfall. So I'm going to show you guys that. There's your waterfall, and there's kind of the river. And rapids are running kind of down into the town itself. Very, very, very pretty here. However, I myself, I'm not particularly a waterfall photographer, although it's very pretty. But I'm just not particularly seeing anything there that I want this morning, so I'm going to continue up this now kind of a mud and rock pathway, if you will, or trail that's now descending straight up. Ascending straight up. Anyhow, we will just talk to you guys in a bit. So we're ascending up a very steep trail, rocky and muddy trail here. It's really quite interesting, quite challenging, and we just keep running into trees and bushes and everything else. It's actually amazing though. So Wandsfell Pike, that's where we're heading today. It's pretty high, but we're hoping for some spectacular views from there. And on the way up, it's surprising what you see, and you just never know what you're going to see next. So I don't have a plan today as far as what I'm going to see. I only have a plan of where I'm going to go. So everything I can photograph today will be a surprise to me as much as it will be to you. Anyhow, here we go. We're going to continue the hike upwards. So here we've reached a second waterfall, I guess, all on the same kind of river or kind of stream, mountain stream kind of system. This one's quite a big, I bet it's 80 to 100 feet high, this waterfall. And you can look down here into the gully and actually see basically the rapids and so on in the river of where it runs back down into the town. Now back in the day, 100, 200 years ago, it was this water system or this river system here that powered the mill. The mill was the industry here. It ground the grains to make the flour, and it was the main industry, and everything kind of revolved around this rapids running down into the town where energy was collected from. So yeah, very interesting. We just came off the trail heading up, and we're still on our way up to Wandsfell Pike. But this is a view or scene that we came across. Now, we are going to set up the tripod here. We are going to try to capture this image. We're going to capture this in a wide format. We're also going to look at a panorama of this particular image. So I'm really happy that I brought my L bracket with me. So that's awesome. So we're going to really, really try and do that. The sun's directly behind me, and it's pretty high up in the sky. So the whole valley is uniformly lit. It is a blue sky today, a clear day. There's a little bit of high kind of wispy cirrus cloud. But anyhow, that's the view. I'm going to take a few minutes here now. I'm going to set up my tripod, set up my camera. I'm going to mount my L bracket because I do definitely want to have a go at some panoramic shots of this. It's an absolutely stunning valley. You've got snow-capped mountains in the background. It drops down into the lower hills or fells, which now drops down into the forest area, and then it drops down into the actual village itself, or the town of Ambleside. You can see the church steeple or church tower over there. In the immediate foreground, we've got just the grass. We have one tree here, which is relatively close to us. There's a couple of sheep down below that tree. I don't know if you can actually make those out or if we can capture those in the image. And then we've got some brown kind of dead growth from the winter time that's going to help create a bit of interest in the foreground and also a little bit of color. So yeah, you know what? There's no reason why this shouldn't be an absolutely stunning image. I've set up, I actually moved from where I was about 200 yards to the left, only because I thought maybe I could utilize just this little bit of a flat area that I'm on right now, a little bit easier to set up the tripod, not quite as much of an incline. And what I've done is I've just got a partial graduated filter. It's a 6-stop. I just want to darken a little bit the sky around the top of the mountains. I find with the white cirrus cloud in the background behind the mountains, you get this really kind of white or grey hue around the top of the hills. Granted, I can do that in post, I know, but I'd like to do as much of that as I could in the camera. So I'm just using a 6-stop graduated ND filter to help me accomplish that. I've got f8. I have an ISO of 100, and it's giving me a shutter speed of about 1/300th of a second. So let's take the shot. Now, I mentioned earlier, I only have this one lens with me on this particular hike, which is my 28 to 135. Right now I'm at about 30 millimeters on the focal length. I'm going to take another shot. And again, I'm just going to move the camera slightly to the right. I'm simply doing that because I'm not really considering this a panoramic shot. I'm going to use my L bracket and shoot vertically for that. But I have no idea when I'm going to get back here again. And having said that, why not take this view from every possible angle or composition that I can from where I am right now. So we're just panning around, taking the shot. We're pretty much set to infinity on the focus. And there you have it. So right there we took a selection of maybe 8 images, panning this whole valley with the mountains in the background. So we're now set up vertically. Don't forget, when you set up vertically, also make sure that if you're just using a graduated filter, make sure that you put that in position too. Otherwise it'll be on the left side or the right side. But anyhow, so we've set up. I'm on manual focus now. I have focus and I'm basically focused into infinity. I have an f-stop of f8. I have a shutter speed of 1/250th of a second, and I have an ISO of 100. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to take a shot just with my finger in front of the lens. I'll explain to you in a second, excuse me for doing this, I'll explain to you in a second why I do this. But I'm just taking a shot with my hand or finger, whatever, in front of the lens. That tells me that that's where the panoramic shot begins. So now I'm going to take my first shot, move the camera, I like to overlap by about 30 degrees, or 30%, let's say, sorry, 30% of the image. I like to give Photoshop lots to work with as far as stitching this together. So we're simply panning all around. So don't forget, we have our one graduated filter on there, which is a 6-stop, just to bring down the sky a little bit. Again, we can make those final adjustments in post. And all the way around. And to tell me that this is the end, I'm going to finish with a shot of you guys. And there we go. So that's the panoramic shot. We did make it up to the top, and we have started on our way back down. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what about the pictures? What about the settings? What about, you know, what did you do? What about the composition? Well, okay, it was a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to confess something to you. I am having a bit of a problem with heights. I am. But I did manage, I did get to the top, I wouldn't lie. And I got myself on this like ledge. I got my camera set up, I got my tripod set up into a, you know, a smaller format. And I managed to get shots. Now you're going to see these shots, of course. Again, I was using my Canon 50D. I was using my 28 to 135mm lens. I was using my polarizing filter. Okay guys, well, we're still continuing to work our way down this mountain, but we're in these drove trails, and you know, these were here from back in the day when the herdsmen, I guess, or drovers used to bring down whatever the livestock of the time was down into the markets, into the towns and villages below, and that's where these drove trails, as you can see here, we're down, basically down at the bottom now, but that's where these drove trails came from. Okay, so we're pretty much back down from the Wandsfell. It's been amazing. So this pretty much sums up my photography experience in the Lake District for this week. It's been amazing. Again, I'll say it one more time. Of all the places I've been, England is by far the fairest of them all. So yeah. Today a lot of the shots have been in kind of a haze, thick haze in the distance. Two reasons, you know, the humidity and the sunshine, and the fact that when I'm actually out shooting, but no point trying to get out before sunrise because I simply wouldn't know where I was going. And you really do need to know that here. It's a place you need to come spend time. Like now I've done this particular hike. Tomorrow or the next day, maybe I would plan to be in a certain part of this hike by sunrise, but yeah, no, that's just not going to happen anyhow. Tomorrow we fly back home to Canada. So yeah, it's been amazing. It really has been amazing. Really much as I can say. I do ask myself something. 40 years ago, when I was a young man, what was I thinking? Hey guys, well, I'm sat here checking the map. Tomorrow we're heading back to the Manchester airport for our flight back to Toronto, Ontario. Our week in the Lake District is now over. Camera's packed, all the images are downloaded to the computer, they're all backed up onto the USB sticks. The only thing that's left is my GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black, which I'm using to record this last video. It's been a stunningly, amazingly exciting, hard work week. And I wouldn't change it for the world.